Serious people of Reddit, what's your if I'm going down I'm taking you with me story? Serious replies only, self.askreddit. Submitted 13 hours ago by Q6U8G2. 1491 comments. Hair save report. Top 200 comments show 500. Navigate by subscribe. Sorted by best. Want to add to the discussion? Post a comment. Auto moderator. Score hidden 13 hours ago. Stickied comment. Locked comment. Attention. Serious tag notice. Jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted in any comment, parent or child. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Permalink embed save. Blazing Beagle. 6,882.8 hours ago. I was rock climbing and this guy who was my belayer for the day was kind of a dick. Well, no surprise. Dickwad spends most of his time flirting with a cute girl who is friendly but seriously not into him. He gets chewed out by our lead for not paying attention, which means he continues to not pay attention as he is incapable of picking up cues. Well, there's me, 25 feet or so off the ground with my rope slack and feeling my hands slipping because I'm just running out of steam. Now, having told him 3 times to pick up the slack, I look down and see he's completely ignoring me to chat with this girl again. My mistake was looking down, as I reach to readjust my weakening hold and slip. The rope shoots out of his limp, sausage-like fingers and I began to fall. I know a properly tied off rope shouldn't do that. I don't know how he fucked that up too. My only thought is if I'm going to fall, I'll damn well land on him. Well, I did. I landed straight on his cushy, asshole body. I was barely injured. He was taken to hospital after having 80-odd kilos land on him from 2 stories up. I never happened to see him at that rock climbing club again. Still want the kids menu. 3,183.5 hours ago. You took the going down quite literally here. Blazing Beagle. 1,361.4 hours ago. To be fair, I can't imagine a better time to ever post this story. Froggy Trumpet. 468.5 hours ago. And this is why I only do easy top rope climbs until I know the person is a good belayer. Blazing Beagle. 165.4 hours ago. Yet I learned that lesson the hard way that day. Plus deleted 6 hours ago, 2 children. Ocean Bloom _ 207.4 hours ago. I landed straight on his cushy, asshole body. This is fucking funny. FATCATBTW. 50.4 hours ago. What did that feel like? Did you get hurt? Blazing Beagle. 121.4 hours ago. Hard to describe. I got the wind knocked out of me, a bit of whiplash, and was dazed for a few minutes. Also had a number of bruises from the impact, but I got lucky to get away with nothing more serious. The best I can say is it felt like landing on a person I'm afraid. Username I left. 138.5 hours ago. Always use agree. Barley 12. 73.5 hours ago. Always know how to use your gear. Blindfolded badgers. 143.5 hours ago. Or just take a mate you can trust to not be a shitbag. 1. 4. My X. 743.7 hours ago. If you're Canadian, you've done this to your BFF while slipping on ice outside of school at least once in your life. 1. B May 1310. 2790 points 10 hours ago. When I was in 8th grade, we had to create a presentation on a book we had just read, including a skit from one of the scenes. Here's the best part: we were forced to work in groups. Being an introvert, I hate group work. What I hate even more is when your group mates don't do their work. The day we were assigned the project, we decided to divvy up the slides equally. It was a Google Slides, so we could all contribute to the same document. The class ended, and I had already finished one of my slides. One boy only changed the color of the title, and the other two didn't do anything. 2 days later, I had finished all of my slides. Nobody else had done anything. I offered to start the script for the skit since I had finished, and asked for the others to contribute. Nothing. A couple more days passed, I had finished the skit as well, and all of the other slides were still empty. Finally, the night before the assignment was due came. I had hoped that even a title had been added. The slides were still empty. I finally decided to just finish it myself. I was up until about midnight, and the slides were not the best quality. Finally, presentation day comes. Of course, my group mates felt absolutely no remorse for doing no work. It was our turn to present, and my group mates nominated me to present. I finally decided to show them the consequences of their actions. I told them that we were all to present the slides we were supposed to work on. They obviously didn't know what they were doing and were extremely unprepared. My grade went down, but theirs went down even more. Prisoner of Azkaban 14. 2689 points 8 hours ago. I told them that we were all to present the slides we were supposed to work on. You should have said instead each one presents the slides they worked on. Then, do all the presentation yourself and tell the audience in the end, and now my group mates will present their work. Step aside and look into their eyes dead cold and wait like everyone else for them to talk. B May 1310. 384.7 hours ago. I totally should have done that. GamerGeek 17. 397.8 hours ago. I would have just put my name on the project and left theirs off. OL_man_rambles. 310.5 hours ago. I did this in high school with our report about Hamlet. We were supposed to each pick a character and make the argument that they were the most impactful. I let the others there have easy ones like Hamlet, Claudius, and Ophelia. I chose Horatio and did it that week. I then wrote all the other 3 reports in study hall the next week, typed them all up and printed them out each with my name on them. When it came time to present it, one other guy, the one who got Hamlet, had actually done a paper, so I kept that one, but the other 2 I just handed to them and they read it verbatim during the presentation and handed it in with my name on it. The teacher pulled me aside and asked if I'd written them all and have me extra credit for it, but was a little peeved I didn't come to him before. Movkalist. 136.4 hours ago. I then wrote all the other 3 reports in study. What I don't get is why people do this and enable others that do nothing. I mean, why even consider doing their work? Just go tell the prof your group hasn't done jack shit and they'll most likely understand or at least do something about it. Bad path. 38.3 hours ago. Easiest answer is that it's less effort to do extra work than to deal with talking to the teacher, possibly having to argue your case with your peers there, and then living with the stigma of being a snitch. Same general reasoning as people who don't want to go to court over a few hours of unpaid work or overtime. Not to mention some teachers will tell you that that's part of the group work experience. Squirrel today. 85.4 hours ago. I did this too. Science project in high school. Myself and Kay did almost all the work. Elle helped as much as she could but had been extremely unwell. She had pneumonia for 4 of the 6 weeks that this project was in progress and was absent. S was useless and did nothing. Kay, however, had been put into a group with S in the past and knew that she was like this. This time, she'd had enough. We complained to our teacher about S, so the teacher was aware. K and I did most of the work and added in L's contributions. Presentation was actually L's first day back after her extended absence. S's contribution to the presentation was to hold up the posters. This was late 1980s. Handed in all the stuff with only the three of us credited on it. Teacher gave S a handful of marks because technically, S had participated in the presentation. The rest of us scored high enough for a grade. S lost her feckin' mind and complained to the teacher, who told her that she was well aware of S's behavior and had seen how little she'd done, i.e., nothing, even in class time devoted to the project. Bapo no el Chapo. 173.9 hours ago. Why did your grade go down even if you did all of the work? B May 1310. 260.8 hours ago. I don't know, ask my 8th grade English teacher. Though she was aware I did all the work. United Nations. 181.8 hours ago. English teachers are unfairly evil, man. We all know a terrible English teacher. PGP 555. 55.6 hours ago. Opposite to me, man. Most of my English teachers were the nicest. 1 good rib. 112.6 hours ago. My 11th grade English teacher graded us on class participation, but would only ever let the same 3 kids talk and, I'm not exaggerating, they would talk for at least 20 minutes. So there'd be nothing left for the other 25 of us to say even if we wanted to say anything, but we'd all get zeros for participation because those 3 kids would just talk and talk and talk. Also, he had cold, clammy hands. I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out he was a sexual predator, just a feeling I have. I mean, the class participation isn't related to me feeling like he might be a sexual predator, it's just an additional terrible thing. Monopopo 2761. 48.8 hours ago. My teacher loved group projects and said if you can't work with difficult people then you don't deserve an AI. The Justin. 41.8 hours ago. This is when you just take their name off the presentation. 1. Glucohaley. 2069.8 hours ago. When I worked as a case manager as an MHMR, we had a new department supervisor come in and she was the worst. Every single person but myself and another case manager quit within the month of this woman starting. I really liked my job and it was also my internship site for my master's degree, so I needed to stay employed there. Since so many people quit, this lady got permission to hire and it soon became obvious that she wanted to get rid of anyone she hadn't hired and have a department full of people she had personally chosen. Surprise, surprise, most of her hires were shitty just like her. On top of being an awful human, she also had very little background in mental health and gave truly awful supervision when it came to clients and getting them the services they needed. Since I wasn't a part of the people she had hired, I knew she would try to get rid of me, so I made sure to document everything. Anytime I staffed a client with her, I would document her advice in that person's chart as well as the actions I took due to her advice. I also kept a detailed paper trail and would email her questions about policy so that I'd have record of her answers, which usually were the opposite of what our policy actually was. She even started walking to my desk to verbally give me answers to the questions I sent via email, and I'd have to make up some excuse as to why I needed her answer in an email. Like I would tell her a parent or client had asked and I wanted to be able to give them a verbatim answer. I could tell she hated it. Anyway, several months later, I staffed a client with her who I believed needed to be hospitalized and wanted to run it by her first as she demanded. The kid was suicidal, homicidal, and impulsive, which is a recipe for disaster. She disagreed that this kid needed hospitalization and told me to refer the client to another agency because apparently the client was too high risk for us but didn't need to be hospitalized. I tried to get her to agree to just calling crisis to assess her, but she denied that as well. I documented what she told me to do and referred out. Well, literally a day later, this kid brings a gun to school and gets in a ton of trouble obviously. Thankfully he was stopped as soon as he stepped through the metal detectors. Mom is pissed that my agency just referred him out and didn't get him the help he needed, and a day later he plans to shoot up his school. My supervisor's supervisor is pissed as this is a PR nightmare and comes down on my supervisor, but since I was the direct care staff assigned to this client, my supervisor blamed it all on me. I ended up getting fired for my negligence. However, the higher up of course carefully went through this kid's records and saw all of my documentation regarding the awful decisions my supervisor had made, which lead the higher up to investigate even more. Basically there was Medicaid fraud being committed. This lady was lying about her mileage and being reimbursed way more than she should, and all this other lovely stuff. So she was fired as well. I was asked to come back, but fuck that place and its corruption. Funges 1. 497 points 4 hours ago. There's something about healthcare that, like religion, attracts sociopaths. I can count on 2 fingers the number of decent managers I had in 25 years as a nurse. Jeff the less. 221 points 3 hours ago. Power attracts sociopaths. You find them in places where they can get perceived power over others: medicine, education, religion, politics, and middle management. Rad_Spencer. 41 points 2 hours ago. I think it's also the emotional stress. Sociopaths are able to cope with it in ways others can't, so they can stick it out when others burn out. Since they last longer than their peers, they get promoted. Zodiac 1190. 45 points 3 hours ago. The mental health field is even worse. It attracts people who have a desire to help others due to either their own struggles or the struggles of their immediate family members. Combine mental health issues with a high stress, low paying, thankless job and you have a recipe for disaster. 1. Jerko. 7,607 points 12 hours ago. My grandma lived on a main road in Miami. She had grapefruit trees in her yard that grew huge grapefruits. When I was little, my older brothers taught me to roll the grapefruits out into traffic and watch them splat as the cars drove by. They couldn't see where the fruits were coming from because we hid behind the bushes to launch them. It was kinda like reverse Frogger. The goal was to get a good splat. When I was 15, Grandma's health was declining, so my family stayed at her house for a couple days to get it cleaned out and ready to sell. I decided it would be fun to take my younger brothers out and show them grapefruit splat. After about 10 minutes of us hurling double-digit grapefruits out into traffic, one of us rolled a big, fat grapefruit right in front of a cop car without paying attention. We all ran to the backyard, but when I looked out front, my youngest brother Barry was still out there. Apparently he froze up. I come walking up hurriedly to the police officers and tried to play it off. "What seems to be the problem, officer?" I asked. "Who are you and where are this boy's parents?" he asked. I replied, "I'm his older brother. My parents are at the grocery store, so I'm babysitting until they get back." The cop was super chill and goes, "Okay, well, your brother was rolling grapefruits out into traffic, so we just stopped to explain to him why that's dangerous." I looked over to Barry and winked to let him know that we were about to be off the hook, and I said to the cop, "I'm so sorry, I'll make sure to have a talk with him and it won't happen again." Well, fucking Barry misread my wink as a taunt, so he looks up at the cops and goes, "He's the one who showed us how to do it. He ran away when you stopped. And my dad's not gone, he's inside." The cop looks down at me with a huge grin and says, "Let's go see Dad." I proceeded to get a huge ass kicking for bringing my brothers into something dangerous, then grounded for lying to the cops. Plus deleted 11 hours ago, 19 children. Plus deleted 9 hours ago *, 3 children. Plus deleted 10 hours ago, 6 children. Plus deleted 9 hours ago, 2 children. Plus deleted 10 hours ago, 2 children. Dash low down dirty. Shortcake 1028.9 hours ago. I never laughed so hard in my life. That cop had to have been a father or an older brother because he knew you were fucked. That's why he had that shit-eating grin on his face. 1. Dash please elitist space. 441.9 hours ago. I might sound cynical, but every time I read posts like these I'm reminded of why I don't like kids. Dash Illy Chan. 218.7 hours ago. Yeah, tires are friggin' expensive and seeing sudden movement when driving always freaks me out. I can't say I'm sorry that they were caught. I am sorry his dad responded that way though. 1. Dash Devil Daggers. 33.11 hours ago. Ouch man. Plus deleted 9 hours ago, 1 child. 4. Dash Minigunman 123. 750.7 hours ago. I once worked for a startup company, and they missed one of my paychecks. It wasn't a gigantic deal to me because they were a bit strapped for cash and we had a big release coming soon, and I was decently paid anyway, so I just said fuck it. They then fired me 2 days before release, making it sound like I had been inadequate despite zero indication from them that I was such before that day. So I made the proper legal arrangements to recoup my missing paycheck and told them I'd be going to labor and industry. I had already filed a complaint, because if they were going to fire me after I worked 70 hours a week for over a month to try and meet their deadline, out of nowhere, I sure as fuck wasn't going to cut them the slack of an entire paycheck. I got my paycheck, they went out of business because they were corrupt and had been misusing investor funds for years before this unbeknownst to me, and I laughed my way to the bank. Dash John Brown marking gone. 100.3 hours ago. If a company, especially a startup, misses a check, that's a huge sign something is wrong. Like holy shit, we don't have enough money to make payroll, wrong. Dash Phantasma en la Machina. 196.7 hours ago. When I was in university I did a 6-month exchange program in Spain. I took 4 classes while I was there and all had an equivalent credit at my university in Canada. I was getting A's in all of my classes except one class where I was really struggling, and getting a failing grade on an assignment in that class finally broke me. The prof for this class was the worst. It was an intermediate Spanish class and he was marking us like he thought we should all be writing Shakespeare. Not only that, but how he told us to complete assignments vs how he marked them would be completely incongruent. He expected us to be doing things that he never taught us and he should not have been expecting in the first place from an intermediate Spanish class. I realized it wasn't just my problem when the girl from France, whose Spanish was far better than anyone else in the class, started crying one day after she got an assignment back and begging to understand why she was marked so poorly. He just pointed at her assignment like that was the only explanation required and then ignored her after that. There was no way to drop the class or switch into another because of the way it was built into the exchange program, so I decided I would start emailing the teacher constantly after he gave us assignments, clarifying every little point, coming back with follow-up questions to try and figure out what the hell it was he actually wanted from us, spending way more time on assignments than they deserved. That way if I failed I would have this record showing how hard I was working in the class to bring to administration if I needed to fight it, and all the discrepancies between how he provided assignments vs how he marked them. A couple of days before the final exam, teacher evaluation forms came around and I could tell by how long it took all of us to turn them in that I wasn't the only one in the class unloading on this guy. This was his first semester teaching at the university, so if his teacher evaluations didn't go well he wouldn't be invited back. If I failed this class then at least that asshole wouldn't be doing this to someone else next semester. We get our final marks a week later and I've managed to pull a C out of my ass. This audio file was created by Panopreader Basic. You can download it at www.panopreader.com. Great, just squeaked by. Then with final marks dispersed he's allowed to see his teacher evaluations. He sent an email to the entire class that night and lost his friggin' mind. We're talking sections with all caps, multiple exclamation marks, telling us how fucking stupid we all are and how we don't know what we're talking about. He's the greatest teacher alive and we're all just bad students. Complete meltdown. The next morning I found another email, from the university this time, stating that Professor Asshole is no longer with the university and will not be welcome back again, followed by numerous apologies regarding his behavior. I inquired about our grades in light of what happened, but I guess they weren't that apologetic because they refused to change them. Go figure. Alcapuke. 20 points 2 hours ago. Funny how little say we have with institutions we give thousands of dollars to. Carriega 57. 1801 points 9 hours ago. When I was stationed in Korea, my sergeant threatened to tell command I was drinking underage. Fortunately I had pictures of our squad drinking and he was present, so I told I would show them to command if he told on me. Plain whiteds. 734 points 8 hours ago. Fuck pussy by the books NCOs. When I was in Korea, my company commander and first sergeant found me in the bars on my first day in the company and I was still 19. We shook hands, bought each other drinks and had a good time. Kinmuan. 244.6 hours ago. Fuck pussy by the books NCOs. TBF, I take no issue with it, but you can't also be half a shitbag. If he wants to be by the book, that's fine, that's his thing. But you can't be drinking with underage junior enlisted Joes and then pretend like you're by the book. Lavakekapis. 730.8 hours ago. Can't get my head around a legal system that says you're old enough to risk your life for your country, but too young to drink. Plain whiteds. 232.8 hours ago. I've found that as long as you aren't doing something stupid like driving, nobody stops you from drinking as much as you want when you're an adult. I got drinks in all kinds of restaurants in the States underage and from liquor stores. But in both cases I have no doubt that I would have been refused had I not been in the military. Fubarp. 31.5 hours ago. Yeah, a frat brother turned 20 and we took him out to the bars because he was in the army. Had a good time drinking. He ended up getting caught by police only because he went outside the bar and took a piss on the sidewalk. He didn't get punished for anything, just put in the drunk tank and was let out in the morning. 1. Go Corral. 56.7 hours ago. 19 is the drinking age in Korea though. Plain whiteds. 81.7 hours ago. I want to say yes, but I can't honestly remember what their drinking age was, but I'm pretty sure they were legally serving me. And I'm pretty sure by Korean law I was allowed to drink. But I also had to follow US law and wait until I was 21. 1. Carriega 57. 44.7 hours ago. If you're off base the locals don't care. But once you get back on base, if they wanted to they could breathalyze you. Rarely happens though. Threatening underage personnel is just another way they can hold something against you. T squirt. 1530.8 hours ago. Current job, previous manager. I was on a team of 2, and when the lady I worked alongside with quit, they decided not to replace her. I have a young child, who, as children so often do, gets sick a lot, being the only person on my team, and the most important role for our office to function since it is literally the first step in all our processes. I had a very hard time whenever I used my PTO with short notice. I had given my manager multiple ways to fix the issue, but she never would hear any of it. She also was in a remote office, so she had zero clue what I did with my day. She finally sent me a very angry email basically telling me I could not use my PTO for emergencies all the time when my son got sick. I wrote back a long, detailed list of every method I suggested to fix the issue, along with the fact that I was the only person in my position for months, and that our company policy states in bold letters that using PTO because you or your loved one is sick is not only acceptable, but encouraged. My manager responded to my email by stating she would forward my concerns to HR and that I should probably polish up my resume. But HR was in our office that day. For the first time in 6 months. Great coincidence, right? So I went in, asked if I could speak about an issue concerning my manager, and explained everything as it happened. The HR rep had this look on her face like she was going to murder someone. She asked me to forward the entire email chain to her, which I did. Then she called me back to talk to her. A few people I talked to were aware that the manager and I had issues, and the lead of every team in our office basically told the HR rep that the entire office can't function without me and that I've been doing the work of 3 people for 9 months. Later that day, my manager sent me a very angry message over email basically saying I was fired and that I was to pack my things immediately for failing to do my job and because I was causing a hostile work environment. I forwarded this to HR rep, and then walked to her office and asked if I should pack my stuff. She looked at me, and in a single, sweet sentence said not a chance, she's royally fucked. And that's basically how my manager went from making $80,000 a year to being fired on a Wednesday with no compensation, no benefits, and no way to collect unemployment. All around a productive day. He was gone 333.6 hours ago. This was somehow a very refreshing read. Spider Flame 04. 162.5 hours ago. This was so satisfying to read. Glad the manager got what she deserved. Plus deleted 5 hours ago, one child. Squirrela today. 36.3 hours ago. About 20 years ago, I worked at a hospital. I was admin support for a bunch of doctors and other allied health staff, dietitians, health educators, etc. The manager I had at first was amazing. I loved working with her, but she ended up leaving and going to another job closer to home when her husband was battling cancer. He kicked cancer's ass, thankfully. Enter new manager who loved her title and big fat pay packet, but was barely interested in what she was supposed to do, and had zero interest in what my job entailed. I ended up having to cover for her a lot. I really get the feeling she lied on the resume and then just got super lucky because I knew how stuff worked and how to do it. After several months of this, one of the doctors found me still in my office, hours past my official finishing time. He was a really lovely person and he was very concerned about the state of affairs, and asked me to keep him informed of what was going on. I made sure to tell him that another senior staff member also knew what was going on and he agreed that this was good. Keep us both informed, you got it, Doc. Anyway, after she royally screwed me over by making sure she got all the credit for the planning and execution of the big annual conference, and I got zero, I was fuming. I got another job. Now, that doesn't sound like a massive fuck you, but it actually is. See, I had nearly a decade of experience there, and by the time I left, she had just over a year. And in reality, she had none because she had no idea how most of her job functioned and pretty much nothing of mine. And the way public health works in Australia, well, if they can get away with not paying for something, they will. Especially if you have staff leave, they won't even advertise the position vacant until long after the departing staff member is gone. I proved myself the better person by leaving a basic instruction manual on how to do my job. My job, not hers. And then I left. I did hear from that other senior staff member a while after I'd started my new job. Apparently new manager was in a constant state of being overwhelmed and pretty much had my instruction manual in hand constantly. I'd been gone 6 months before they replaced me. Su1 AC0. 1086.8 hours ago. I worked at Geek Squad at a failing Best Buy. One day, a service order I had created was shown to me by a coworker. Hey, looks like you made a mistake here. You checked this box, but that doesn't make sense given what they brought the PC in to be repaired for. Me, yep, sorry, I meant to check this other box here. Let me fix it. Another coworker, hey, can I see that before you fix it? She takes it, walks over to the copier, makes a copy of it, hands the original back to me, disappears to the back with the copy. Puzzling. Suspicious. Her and I were cool, always got along great, worked well together. Later on, I quizzed her on it. Things aren't going that shitty for us yet, but they will get there. Trust me, you should be doing the same thing. Document every single mistake you can find on literally anyone you can. You're going to need it. So I started doing the same. I had a hidden folder stashed somewhere. Copies of other people's simple mistakes that happen all the time. Forgot to get a signature on this. Skipped a step on that. Checked the wrong field on a form. Turns out, for a full year or two before they finally decided to shut the store down, management was firing anyone and everyone for any reason they could, in order to reduce headcount, or avoid potential severance if the store shut? I dunno, have to go ask them to be sure. But they couldn't fire anyone in Geek Squad without firing everyone else they had dirt on. Hey Bill, can you explain this mistake you made? This is going to get you fired. Bill, while we're talking about this, let's review whom else needs to be fired for simple mistakes. Dumps out folder full of dozens of mistakes from numerous other employees. They couldn't exactly fire the entire Geek Squad, or all of customer service, we shared the same corner/area in the store. They needed to reduce headcount but not fire entire departments, so we were left alone. Beakies. 207.5 hours ago. Healthy work environment. Keep blurry. 283.7 hours ago. Best Buy. I lasted exactly 30 days working for them and it is hands down one of the scummiest companies I have ever worked for in my entire life. I bailed on that place as soon as I saw the writing on the wall and my employee discount kicked in. That place just threw fertilizer on the most disgusting people hoping they would grow bigger. Hypothesis_null. 83.4 hours ago. That just sounds like unionizing with extra steps. But to be fair, I've never seen MAD used to coerce a third party before, so well done. Dream Girl 3. 1232.9 hours ago. Dad pushed me into the pool but before I fell in I grabbed his arm. Smiling face with sunglasses. Mumble Pamble. 366.5 hours ago. I did the same to a girl I used to work with. It was a cold, rainy day and I went to pass her on the dock we worked on and she gave me a shove. In desperation to catch myself I grabbed a handful of her shirt and we both went in. We taught sailing lessons and she had changed into normal clothes for the day, but I had not. Her reasoning for pushing me in was I still had my suit on so it was okay. Fuck you Gina, I hope your drive home in wet clothes sucked. 707 Royalty. 248.8 hours ago. Uno reverse card played to the ultimate effect. Reddit while working 23. 156.7 hours ago. Super simple, but I am notorious in my friend group of having a fear of water. I'm okay in pools since you can, hopefully, see the bottom but even shallow lakes, rivers and oceans are a no-go for me. Some friends ended up renting a boat and wanted to take it out on the lake and begged me to come out. I kept telling them no way in hell would I ever WI.